King Charles has just signed a royal order that changes everything. Camilla is officially banned from ever using the title Queen. The decision was swift, secret, and final. Staff are stunned, documents rewritten, and for the first time in royal history, a consort has been stripped by decree. The royal decree dropped. Charles signs the ban. It happened behind closed doors. No cameras, no court photographers, just a sealed room inside Clarence House on a humid afternoon in July 2025. And yet, within hours, the world would be set ablaze. In that room, King Charles III signed a royal warrant, a personal decree that would become the most controversial act of his reign. The wording was cold, precise, and impossible to misinterpret. Hereafter, Camilla shall not bear the style or title of queen in any royal or public usage. Not queen consort, not her majesty, nothing. With a stroke of the pen, Charles stripped Camilla of the crown's most powerful symbolic title and ordered that all official references revert to her original styling. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Cornwall, returned. The silence inside the palace was deafening. Aides reportedly froze as copies of the warrant were quietly circulated among senior royal staff, legal advisors, and communications teams. One insider described the atmosphere as stunned, like watching a guillotine fall in slow motion. No public statement was made, not yet. But by nightfall, the leak began. An unnamed palace source tipped off 2 royal correspondents, and by the next morning, headlines screamed across the UK, "Charles bans Camilla from ever being called Queen again." Social media detonated. Hashtags like #QueenNoMore, #RoyalReversal, and #CamillaStripped flooded timelines. Supporters of Princess Diana rejoiced. Traditionalists called it long overdue. But loyalists to Camilla, few but vocal, called it cruel. The legality of the order is watertight. Under royal prerogative, the monarch holds absolute authority over royal titles. Once signed and sealed, a royal warrant outranks previous conventions, even if they were blessed by the late Queen Elizabeth II herself. No parliament vote, no debate, just ink, paper, and one brutal decision. Why the break? What triggered the ban? The suddenness of the decree shocked the public, but inside the palace, the tension had been building for weeks. Sources now confirm there was a spark, one final scandal that pushed King Charles past the point of return. At the heart of it, a private dossier compiled by royal legal staff showing evidence that Camilla had repeatedly referred to herself as Queen in official settings, in memos, at private charity meetings, and even in diplomatic briefings. This went far beyond Queen consort. It was a deliberate power assertion, and one that crossed a line Charles could no longer ignore. The final straw came during a state dinner in early July 2025, when a leaked seating plan listed her as Queen Camilla, full styling. When Charles asked who approved it, no one could give a straight answer. One source claims he left the room shaking. This wasn't just about protocol, it was personal. Charles had always been deeply sensitive about public perception, especially after decades of public guilt over Princess Diana's legacy. Camilla using the Queen title without full consent, and perhaps even against palace instruction, wasn't just defiance. It was humiliation. Meanwhile, pressure from inside was mounting. A faction of traditionalist courtiers, many of whom had never accepted Camilla's elevation, seized the moment. They presented reports, staff concerns, and even old correspondence from Queen Elizabeth II, hinting that the late monarch envisioned Camilla only as a temporary consort, not a permanent queen figure. Public sentiment, too, had turned sharply. After months of negative press and quiet resentment from royal watchers, approval ratings for Camilla had dipped below 25%, the lowest since her marriage in 2005. Political advisors reportedly told Charles, "Reassert control now, or lose the narrative forever." So, he acted. Swiftly, decisively, brutally. The title was gone, the damage irreversible, and the world just beginning to realize what it meant. The legal mechanism, how the order holds power. When King Charles III signed the royal warrant banning Camilla from ever using the title Queen, many wondered, can he actually do that? The short answer is yes, and completely. Under the ancient authority of the royal prerogative, the reigning monarch has the power to grant, withhold, or revoke royal titles without needing parliament or public consent. This legal tool is rarely used in modern times, but when it is, its impact is absolute. The royal warrant issued in July 2025 didn't just express Charles's wishes. It invoked direct control over the household's communications, ceremonial protocols, and all state documents involving Camilla. The decree ordered that her styling be removed from Queen Camilla back to her lesser designation, and prohibited its future use in perpetuity unless reversed by a future monarch. The difference between Queen Consort and Queen may seem small to the public, but in royal law and tradition, it's massive. Queen Consort is a courtesy title, traditional but optional. Queen is symbolic power, even without ruling authority. And by crossing into that territory, Camilla threatened the monarch's image of control. There's no precedent for this kind of revocation. No previous Queen Consort in British history has ever been formally banned from using her title posthumously or during her lifetime. Even Wallis Simpson, denied the title Her Royal Highness, wasn't officially barred by decree. It was simply never granted. Enforcing this order is no empty gesture. The Royal Legal Office, Press Secretariat, and Lord Chamberlain's Department have already begun stripping the title from internal documents, public references, and ceremonial templates. All event invitations, official portraits, stationery, and websites are being updated overnight. And if Camilla ignores the ban, she risks being in contempt of royal protocol. A serious breach that could result in public censure, withdrawal of royal funding, or even forced exile from official royal spaces. It wouldn't just be humiliating, it would be historic. As one palace official put it, this wasn't symbolic. It was surgical, and it will be enforced. Because in the monarchy, titles are more than words. They're power, legacy, and control. And Charles just reclaimed all three. Camilla's status stripped, from queen to former consort. The fallout was swift. Within 24 hours of the warrant being signed, Camilla's name was scrubbed from dozens of royal documents. Her biography on the official royal family website was edited, the word Queen replaced with Duchess of Cornwall in every section. Invitations to upcoming events were reprinted. Even ceremonial place cards were destroyed and redone. This wasn't a simple downgrade, it was a complete reclassification, the kind that affects everything from protocol to press releases. Public appearances changed instantly. At an arts event in Devon, just 3 days after the ban, Camilla arrived with her usual security detail, but was introduced on stage as Her Royal Highness Camilla. Former consort to the king gasps were audible. Reporters rushed to confirm the title shift, and it was real. Inside the palace, her status collapsed even faster. Once seated beside Charles at major ceremonies, Camilla now finds herself positioned further down the hierarchy. Below Princess Anne, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and even the Princess of Wales. Her ceremonial roles, honorary colonelcies, board positions, and patronages are now under review. The emotional toll is reportedly severe. Sources say she is shattered, furious, and humiliated. For 2 decades, she climbed a steep path to acceptance. Now, in a matter of hours, it was undone. One former aide described her state bluntly. "She's not Queen Camilla anymore. She's just Camilla again." Even her personal stationery has been redesigned. Where once it bore the royal cipher and the word Queen, it now reads simply, Private Correspondence, H.R.H. Camilla. And while the public sees a quiet face, insiders say the breakdown behind palace doors has been explosive. Some staffers have quit. Others refuse to take new orders from her office without written approval. Her legacy, once almost secure, is now shattered. And the question on everyone's lips, what will she do now? Because this wasn't just a demotion, it was a public stripping of power, the likes of which the monarchy has never seen in modern times. Court reactions, allies, enemies, and silent observers. The shock inside the palace wasn't just about what Charles had done, it was about how fast he did it. Within hours of the royal warrant being signed, the balance of power within the royal court shattered. Camilla's loyalists, a once strong group of seasoned aides, stylists, private secretaries, and social liaisons, were thrown into chaos. Some immediately began pushing back, trying to soften the blow, insisting the move was temporary or symbolic. Others broke ranks entirely, meeting in hushed corridors, seeking new assignments under Princess Anne or Prince William. One aide, loyal to Camilla since 2005, reportedly stormed out of Clarence House, refusing to serve under a diminished royal. A second stayed behind, but began quietly transferring documents and influence to other departments. The message was clear. The Camilla camp was collapsing from the inside. Meanwhile, traditionalist courtiers, those who had long resisted Camilla's rise, celebrated quietly. One source inside Windsor called it a reckoning years overdue. Another, an unnamed ceremonial officer, said simply, "The crown is correcting itself." Then there were the silent players, Princess Anne, Prince Edward, Sophie, and even Kate Middleton, who offered no public comment. But body language spoke volumes. At a state garden event, Anne reportedly greeted Charles with warmth and nodded coolly to Camilla from a distance. William kept his expressions unreadable. Kate, elegant as ever, was all composure, but stayed far from Camilla's circle. Rumors began circulating of behind-the-scenes deals. Some whispered that Charles had made the decision after pressure from multiple family members. Others suggested that a new family pact was forming, one that quietly excluded Camilla from all major planning going forward. Inside Buckingham Palace, conversations shifted. No longer was Camilla referred to as the Queen. Even long-serving staff had begun using neutral phrases like Her Royal Highness or simply Mrs. Windsor. The change was subtle, but devastating. In private, Camilla reportedly held a closed-door meeting with her closest confidants. One insider claimed the tone was part rage, part grief. She feels betrayed, not just by the institution, but by Charles himself. But loyalty in the palace is like weather. It shifts quickly. And now, it was blowing hard against her. Media blitz and public outcry. The media reaction to the ban was instant and brutal. The moment the royal warrant leaked, front pages across the UK exploded with headlines that hadn't been seen since the height of the Diana years. Stripped! Crown crisis. Camilla out. Royal reset. Charles turns on Camilla. Tabloids ran split-screen covers. Camilla's face beside bold red X graphics. Diana's image reappearing like a ghost from the past. The symbolism wasn't lost on the public. For many, this wasn't just a decision. It was redemption. Social media erupted. Hashtags like #QueenNoMore, #CharlesStrikesBack, #WindsorWar, and most powerfully, #JusticeForDiana, all trended worldwide. Within hours, over 4.2 million tweets referenced the title ban. TikTok edits resurfaced old footage of Diana walking alone beside Charles, now overlaid with dramatic music and "She warned us" captions. Leaked scans of the royal warrant began to surface. Though redacted, the signature line was unmistakable. Approved this day by His Majesty King Charles III, July 16, 2025. Royal reporters scrambled to get reactions from inside the palace, but official channels stayed locked down. The silence only amplified the story. No denial, no apology, just a void, and the sound of a nation talking. In an attempt to contain the blaze, royal communications teams began pushing a soft version of events to certain outlets. The king regrets the need for clarity. It's a strategic refocus on roles, not personal punishment. But the damage was done. Prominent broadcasters like Piers Morgan and Emily Maitlis took opposite sides, igniting fiery on-air debates. Internationally, CNN, Le Monde, and even Australian Parliament mentioned the royal scandal during official sessions. It had gone beyond gossip. This was global political theater. And Camilla? Nowhere to be seen. Her last scheduled appearance, a Literacy Award presentation in Bristol, was abruptly cancelled due to illness. But insiders knew better. She was in damage control mode, working with lawyers and PR handlers to navigate the fallout. But there was no hiding from this storm. As one political commentator put it live on air, "When a king strips his own wife of her crown, you're not watching a scandal, you're watching a monarchy trying to survive." And outside the gates of Buckingham Palace, crowds began to gather. Not to protest, not to shout, but to watch history being rewritten in real time. The documents behind the ban. Behind King Charles's signature was more than frustration. There was evidence. And once the royal warrant was made public, insiders began quietly revealing what had pushed the monarch over the edge. At the center of it all was a cache of internal memos gathered by the Royal Legal Office in late June 2025. These weren't just casual notes. These were documents that allegedly showed Camilla repeatedly referring to herself as the Queen, in writing, in speech, and in official spaces. One memo, dated May 14, 2025, detailed Camilla's instructions to event organizers to place her in central position as Queen. Another showed her office approving royal seals marked with CR, short for Camilla Regina, a title never formally granted. But the real blow came from audio. According to multiple sources, a private recording exists of Camilla during a closed-door planning session at St. James's Palace, referring to herself as the rightful queen. She reportedly added, "People will get used to it. They always do." That line, when transcribed, sent shockwaves through Charles's closest circle. Then came the paper trail. Invitations, briefing sheets, even travel manifests began to emerge, each one bearing Queen Camilla in prominent print, all approved by her private staff. While the palace's official language still used Queen Consort, the documents proved that behind the scenes, she was operating as monarch in position. It didn't stop there. Leaked emails hinted at unauthorized access to royal funding, requests allegedly tied to wardrobe expenses, transport upgrades, and event planning, all under the header Queen. One former aide flagged these as title fraud in internal communications. Faced with mounting proof, Charles convened a private meeting with legal advisors in early July. The conclusion? Camilla had crossed the line, both legally and symbolically. As one source close to the king put it, she didn't just claim the crown, She tried to wear it, and from that moment, the only option left was the warrant. Charles's motives: strength, control, or insecurity. Charles didn't want war. That much was known to everyone close to him. But by mid-2025, it became clear. His silence was no longer protecting the crown. It was weakening it. So why did he finally act? Some say it was about power. After months of being overshadowed by Camilla's growing presence and facing internal whispers that she was running the palace, Charles had to remind everyone who wears the real crown. Others believe it was personal. The ghost of Princess Diana still looms large over Charles's public image. Every time Camilla's face appeared beside the word Queen, public backlash intensified. The monarchy's approval ratings dipped. Charles, long haunted by the Diana-Camilla legacy, may have decided that preserving the institution meant reclaiming full control, alone. Inside sources say Princess Anne and Prince Edward had expressed concern in recent months about Camilla's unchecked authority. Even William, while outwardly silent, was reportedly uncomfortable with how central Camilla had become in state planning. Together, this quiet pressure tipped the scale. There's also a strategic angle. Senior political advisors had warned Charles, allowing Camilla to hold the Queen title unofficially could open the door to legal challenges, from Parliament, from Commonwealth leaders, even from anti-monarchist factions. The title wasn't just optics, it was legal exposure. Charles's action was surgical. By banning Camilla from ever using Queen again, he didn't just eliminate the title, he eliminated the risk. But some close to the king say it went deeper. They describe a final, private conversation between Charles and Camilla, just days before the warrant. She reportedly pleaded her case, insisting she meant no harm. Charles listened, then left the room in silence. The next day, the document was signed, and with that, a decision decades in the making, shaped by guilt, image, legacy, and power, was sealed in royal ink. As one longtime royal insider put it, Charles chose the crown over the crown's shadow, and this time, it was personal. Consequences for the monarchy and beyond. The moment King Charles banned Camilla from using the title Queen, it wasn't just a royal correction. It triggered a ripple effect that now threatens the entire structure of the modern monarchy. For years, the royal family had operated with the illusion of unity. But this decision exposed fractures, not just personal ones, but legal and constitutional. Behind the scenes, government officials and constitutional experts expressed concern. Several Commonwealth nations, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, raised quiet questions. If royal titles can be stripped at will, what else can a monarch override? Foreign embassies were left scrambling. Invitations to events had to be reissued. Diplomatic briefings updated language. In one case, a visiting head of state was prepared to meet Queen Camilla, only to be told hours before arrival that the title was no longer valid. It caused protocol chaos. Even more troubling were the legal reverberations in the UK. Prominent constitutional lawyers began debating whether a monarch can, without Parliament's input, permanently revoke a title that was previously recognized by royal precedent and state documents. A quiet petition began circulating in the House of Lords, demanding an inquiry into the improper use of sovereign power, aimed directly at Charles. Public trust took a hit too. While many supported the decision emotionally, others questioned why it took this long. A Times editorial asked pointedly, if Camilla was never meant to be queen, why was the public led to believe otherwise for years? The monarchy, always walking a thin line between tradition and modernity, now faces a dilemma. In attempting to restore control, Charles may have opened a constitutional wound, and most dangerously of all, future consorts are now on notice. No title is safe, no role is guaranteed. The message is chillingly clear. The crown gives, and the crown can take away. The unanswered questions and what comes next. Even with Camilla's title stripped, the story is far from over. In fact, many inside the palace fear the biggest bombshell has yet to drop. Sources say there is a second sealed document, a classified addendum to the royal warrant, still locked away inside the Privy Purse vault at Buckingham Palace. Its contents? Unknown. But whispers say it includes further restrictions, possibly bans on international travel, security privileges, and even future burial rites within royal grounds. And then there's Camilla herself. So far, she's remained silent. No statement, no appearance. But palace insiders say she's considering a public response, possibly an interview, or even a legal challenge. Her legal team is reportedly exploring whether the ban violates previous assurances made by Queen Elizabeth II before her death. Would she dare file suit against the crown? Unlikely, but not impossible. Meanwhile, King Charles is said to be deeply affected. Some insiders say he's second-guessing the intensity of the move. One close aide described him as isolated, exhausted, and conflicted. Could he reverse the order? Maybe not officially, but quietly. There's always room for back-channel compromise. But the real tension lies elsewhere. What else is being hidden? Several former staffers now claim additional letters, memos, and possibly even audio recordings remain unreleased. If made public, they could further damage Camilla, or expose how long Charles allowed her influence to expand unchecked. The final question, now gripping the public. Was this only about a title? Or is it the start of a broader purge inside the royal system? Some believe Prince William and Princess Anne are already preparing to assert new levels of influence behind the scenes. Others say a second wave of restructuring is imminent, targeting lesser royals and outdated privileges. And so, with Camilla silenced, Charles shaken, and the monarchy reeling, the institution stands at a turning point. The title is gone, but the reckoning has just begun. And unless the palace can control the next chapter, the crown may never look the same again. Camilla's crown is gone. Charles's message is clear. The monarchy has limits. Titles can be taken, legacies rewritten. And now, with silence from Camilla and whispers of more to come, one truth remains. This wasn't just a royal order. It was a warning to anyone who overreaches the throne.